most importantly, where do we stand with Jimmy's ankle at the moment?
He turned it. So I don't have anything more than that. If you talk to Jimmy right now, he says he's fine, but, we'll just have to evaluate him tomorrow and see how he feels.
Was there a point where you just say to yourself, you finally get PJ back and now Jimmy goes down, that it's always something, or do you just have to live in the moment?
No, but look, we had our opportunities. It wasn't about Jimmy being out or PJ, coming back after being out. We were right there. There were some key possessions where we needed to take away an easy one. And even though we did knock down some shots in the fourth, we had a couple other plays to make that I think would have helped. No, so I don't think it had anything to do with that. We, put ourselves in a position to win, and they made more plays, going down the stretch. They deserved it after that.
Even just the three that PJ hit at the end, how nice was it to have him back in the mix?
Oh, that's PJ for you. Like, he literally got on a flight. I think he touched down at about 5, just rushing over here to try to, get himself prepped and ready. I had already written up my card that he would not be available. He's been pushing and pressing, trying to get back into this. He finally got cleared late. And that's just the kind of, team guy that he is. And, we feel his toughness, his leadership, his spirit, all of that stuff, all the intangible plays that he makes, are really important for us. And it was just great to have him back, in the competition, in the mix.
And then just talking about toughness, Omer goes out, takes the stitches above the eye, and you really could see when he came back how much his rebounding helped. What does that say about him, that he pushed to get back and did what he did on the boards?
Yeah, he probably had a FaceTime and a few text messages from UD when he went back to the locker room. So he didn't have any choice but to come back. Those are war scars, that UD takes great pride in. But Omer was big, particularly on the defensive glass. And they run so many different actions. He was able to protect the paint pretty well for us. The offense, wasn't necessarily there for him tonight. But his rebounding was really key for us to be able to finish off possessions. And it just shows you how much he's growing and gaining confidence. And he has the size, he has the hands, and now he's dealing with physicality. He's growing exponentially, from these games.
And last from me, how hard was it to manage Kyle's foul trouble? Thank you.
That part was easy. Managing his minutes on a second night of back-to-back, that was a far more challenging thing for this head coach. I don't even know what he ended up with. Oh, yeah, he only played 38 minutes on the second night of the back-to-back. Kyle is getting younger as the season's going on. The foul trouble had no issue or impact, on the game. He's a savvy veteran. He knows how to play with foul trouble. And he was able to do it and still have a, pretty big impact and physicality on both ends.
All right, up next we have Tim Reynolds, AP. Go ahead.
Erik, it's been a theme in the league, obviously the last few days, the impact that these 10-day hardship guys are making. When you see a guy like Kyle Guy taking a charge on Draymond, I know your respect level for these guys is already through the roof, but when you see a kid try to make that play, just what's that tell you about how much he wants to stick somewhere?
Look, these are extraordinary times. The world is so much different than it was 2 years ago. And our league, in the last 3 weeks, has really had to adapt and do things that we're not accustomed to doing. And every team has basically been, cycling through this to try to get enough players to be able to continue to play and keep our business going. And you can complain about it or think about the negatives. Or I think the flip side of it, there have been some really touching and remarkable moments that have happened in the last few weeks. And these are examples of it. We've had some amazing nights where guys have been able to get a bigger opportunity and have these memorable moments and nights to impact winning. And I love that, all the new guys that have come in here have been embraced by our guys. And they've, been able to contribute. Kyle Guy is a gamer, so he figures out different ways to impact and help you by making winning plays. And that was an example of it. He's probably the smallest guy on the floor, but he is a fierce competitor and put his nose in there and was able to take a hit. But I think if you just observe his career, he's found different ways to make an impact, and he's far more than just a shooter.
Thank you, Spo.
Right up next, we have Cooper Moorhead, Eat.com. Go ahead.
So you've talked a lot this season about how Kyle and Jimmy kind of thrive in the random aspect of the offense, and it seemed like the Warriors were kind of forcing a lot of random offense out of you. What was Golden State doing to turn the game into that? And then also, where did Kyle thrive in that?
Well, Kyle, thrives in that kind of chaos because he can still keep his mind organized and communicate to keep everybody else organized. And that's not an easy task to do. When you're adding all these new guys and trying to implement an offense, and yes, we're keeping it simple, but then you're facing a very dynamic, unique defensive team. They have incredible versatility. They can play multiple schemes, and they can do it from possession to possession. Great players in this league are able to navigate all that and still find ways to manipulate, the defense and get the kind of looks that you want to get. And that's what, Kyle is able to do. He's seen every single coverage in the league. So he was able to be aggressive and get us some open looks. We did have some miscues, with the turnovers. But that's part of things on the fly and trying to get on the same page. But without his playmaking, this game could have been, a 20-point game. So he just helps, organize. I'm really enjoying, this partnership because I truly feel like we have a coach out on the floor helping organize and get guys to their spots and get us to the actions that we need to get to. Just wasn't enough, from all of us tonight. And Golden State, made some plays down the stretch, and they're, such a unique offense. They got so many easy ones on cuts and off-ball movement, but you're not facing that every single night.
Thank you.
All right, up next, Wes Goldberg. Go ahead.
Erik, lately you've been putting Caleb Martin in those positions, whether it's on De'Aaron Fox or on Steph, sort of as an on-ball stopper, starting games that way. What have you seen from him defensively that kind of led you to that, I don't know, maybe inclination that he could handle that kind of spot?
Well, he's been developing, that kind of mindset, since training camp. He came to us, he still is a two-way player. And that was the role that we had available, whether he could grow into it or not, or whether he had that kind of background or not, or whether we'd get the opportunities or not. That's the role. If you want to try to take it, embrace all of it that comes from it to prepare for that. And he's done that. He's been relentless with his work ethic and his film study, working with the coaches. He's extremely coachable. He's been coached well, in Charlotte. And I think he was coached extremely well by Coach Musselman. So he has some good habits. And he's a competitor. He wants to get out there. So, he's done everything he's needed to do to try to take on that kind of role. And that's what we've needed from him. And, he's really earned those minutes, and those minutes have grown.